Welcome back to another episode of the Suffer Up Podcast with Nate and Ryan, where our mission is to encourage and lead you, our listeners, to suffer with a purpose, to strive to level up in life with an emphasis on spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. Those are our three pillars here at Suffer Up: mind, spirit, and body. So today, we are going to jump right into it, a very kind of lighthearted episode today. Just talking about our love of running. And some of you have already clicked nope and closed out of this. I understand that. We're going to talk about running. But today, though, we're going to kind of change the narrative just a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to hit more really just kind of like the inside, behind-the-scenes look of trail running and ultra running more specifically.
Yeah. If you've already hit goodbye, come back. Please.
Yeah.
Because this is probably for you. If you hear us talk sometimes about running and you're like, I don't know what they're talking about at all.
Yeah.
Then this will be kind of your video to learn a little bit more about the sport that we love and about the different terminology and things that go with it.
So you hear the word ultra and you're immediately like, no, I'm done. I'm good. A 5K is hard enough. I want to go ahead and just tell you, you don't have to run some of these races. You can walk them. You just ask some people who are near the back of the pack chasing the cutoff.
In there.
Yeah. You can walk some of these. So take it for what it is. It is an ultra event. It is an endurance event. And so we have expressed multiple times on this channel the benefits of it. And I wish more people would kind of just accept it and do something like this, because there's nothing like it and there's nothing that puts you in this position. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I can't do an ultra, I'm telling you right now, there are some 50Ks out there that have very generous cutoff times, and you can like power walk it, the whole thing, and still get a finish out of it and still benefit from it. So there's some very not in shape people doing some of these ultras.
You're probably a lot closer to it than you think.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as an unreachable goal as it sounds.
Right.
So if you're going out trying to run the whole thing,
that's a little different.
That's a whole different goal.
Yeah.
And if you could do that and run the whole thing, you'd be surprised at the placement that you can come in some of these events. Like, for instance, Nate and I's Florida Death Race, the 74-miler that we did, we still walked good portions of it. And what do we get, like 12th?
13, 14.
13, 14?
We crossed together, basically. But
yeah. So, 13th place, and we still walked a significant amount.
Yeah.
We just kept a good run the rest of the time. So, had we been able to run through the whole thing, we'd have been in the first 5 for sure.
Oh, yeah. And so, say that to say the Florida Death Race and even the Georgia Death Race, that's set up to be, you have to run a good majority of it.
Yeah.
Because the cutoff times are very strict.
That's not a good first time.
No, it's not. But there's other races out there, lots of 50Ks that you can do. So we say all this to say is we want to also promote the sport of ultra running.
Yeah.
And marathons kind of come with a connotation of you got to be super fast to run them. Get that. Totally understand that.
That, and there's an actual statistic. I'm just going to give a rough one. The 90% of marathons are on the road.
Right.
Whereas roughly 90% of 50Ks and larger are on trails.
Yes.
Man, trail running is so different from road running. And just the difference in the surface that you're on makes it a lot more accessible, because the times go from a 4 or 5 hour marathon to an 8 hour 50K.
Right.
Being an average thing.
And the trail does something to you that's completely different to your body. All the little roots and rocks and undulations and everything else, it takes a totally different toll on you for that duration. So
it teaches you different stuff too.
It does. So today is really, we are here to talk about trail running, some things that we've learned through trail running, as well as some tips, tricks, lingo. We can even talk about snacks, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're just opening up the table. But before we do that, we do all of our ultra running. At some point in the race or run, we have a pair of soft socks on.
Yep.
And so Soft Socks has been a supporter of this channel. They make a compression-fitting toe sock for your feet that hugs your feet in all the right places and helps prevent blisters and chafing of your feet. If you'd like to try a pair, you can go over to www.softsocks.com or go to the link tree, which will be linked in our podcast episode here today. Try you a pair. They're awesome, veteran-owned, American-owned company, and use discount code SUFFER10 at checkout to receive 10% off of your pair of socks. And you're going to get dirty on the trail. So
100%.
When you're dirty on the trail, you need a way to clean your feet, legs, arms, face, whatever. And you can use Muck Ender wipes. Muck Ender wipes are plant-based, and they do a really good job at providing a clean, large, slightly textured towel to help scrub some of your dirt and grime off of your hands or feet. If you're not a runner and you're listening to this, they also work great in the shop of removing grease and whatever oil or anything that you've spilled on yourself during working on your truck or landscape equipment or whatever. Check them out. Yeah. The link in the description here as well.
New junior firefighters also love them because they're great for cleaning the kitchen.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can use it for cleaning the kitchen, cleaning the dash off in your truck, cleaning your steering wheel, floorboards, whatever.
Everything. We literally use them in our house for all sorts of stuff, like you said, floorboards, the kitchen stovetop and stuff, like the grease that you get from cooking bacon. It works awesome for all that.
Yeah.
And then, you can pull it out of the package, wipe your face with it, and then clean the kitchen counter. Yeah. It's cool that it's plant-based and safe to use on everything. So we love them.
With that, actually, there's another, I will not name the name of the company, but there is a wipe for firefighters that says it's removes the cancer, like cancer wipes after a work and structure fire. Well, when you read the packaging says do not let come in contact with skin or eyes. So if they have to put that disclaimer on there, that tells me that there's something in that wipe, and they don't include the ingredients on the wipes, that is harmful to your skin. Muck Enders lists all their stuff that's in it, and it is safe and plant-based. So I'm going to start using Muck Enders after working house fires. So we want to thank Muck Enders for supporting the channel. Again, you can use the discount code SUFFERUP at checkout to receive 10% off of your amazing wipes.
You can also find them linked on our website under our podcast tab. They're down there as some of our sponsors. Anyways, they're down there with Soft Socks, and you'll see other people that have supported us and that we support, and Muck Enders is there as well with a link that you can click on.
Perfect. So let's dive into it. Trail running. So if you're listening to this, like we kind of alluded to, we want to encourage trail running, and we want to encourage the sport because it brings a lot of value to not only us, but we've seen it really help others. So let's kind of break this up into 3 different sections here. Let's start with why we enjoy trail running, and then what trail running has brought to us. And then at the end, we'll kind of talk about tips, tricks, lingo, and all that kind of stuff. So why did we fall into trail running?
The road's boring.
Yeah.
The road is boring, and honestly, it hurts my joints after a while. I mean, I can go run miles on the road, but to do a marathon on the road, man, that definitely beats you up a lot different than trail running. Not to say that if you're used to running on the road, running on a trail the first time, you'll run 5 miles and be like, man, I am sore all over. But it's a different kind of pain. It's muscle soreness. You're using about a bunch of stabilizer muscles, the small muscles that don't get a lot of training otherwise. You're using all those on a trail, whereas on the road, it's a consistent, steady motion, and that consistent impact. Your muscles adapt well to that, but your joints, after a while, they start to hurt.
Yeah.
So that's a big one for me, is just the physical aspect of it.
Yeah, that is really nice. Well, initially appealed me when we did the Death by 5K, which was like our first ultra-ish, right, 24-hour, 50K. That one, I realized that the people are what's awesome.
Yeah.
The people that do these ultras are really the salts of the earth. They're just genuine people. Everybody out there is looking out for one another.
Yeah. It's not such a dog-eat-dog. I'm trying to place better than you. I mean, again, unless you're a really, really conditioned and really fast athlete, you're not competing for the top 5 on most of these races. So it's just a merit badge to finish it. And that's what everybody's out there looking at, is I just want to finish it. And if I can help you finish, then that's awesome too.
Right.
So yeah, the people are awesome. And just the general vibe of the sport and the events is always just positive and uplifting,
Mm-hmm.
which is perfect for new runners.
Yes. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. The golfer that smokes cigarettes.
John Daly?
John Daly.
Yeah.
So I think of John Daly as like the trail runner, and then I think of Tiger Woods as the road runner.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've seen the memes and stuff on Instagram and whatnot and socials. But like
guys
Tiger
out there
Woods,
having fun.
yeah, he's like refined. He's got it down to a science. You know, he's got all these things. The nutrition is like probably perfect and all this stuff. And then you got John Daly, who's I'm not promoting his behavior or mannerisms, but ripping cigs and drinking
kind of beers
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that's a very good thing to do, but that's kind of trail running. Like we're kind of just
more gritty and fun.
More gritty, fun, wild, free, just free spirited. Kind of. We'll see what happens. You know,
you show nutrition dialed. Nah, man, I'm planning on eating a hamburger at the next aid station.
Yeah. Hey, you got them bacon and cheese quesadillas, like. You know, so you show up to an aid station at these ultras, and you know they usually got music bumping and stuff like that, and everybody's like, "What do you need? Hey, you're doing great, awesome." And you show up to an aid station, you can stop for a second and like eat something because you got to.
Yep.
Whatever they've got. Some of the longer distances, you start getting into like they're having like hot stuff, like broth. They'll have quesadillas. That's like a huge favorite. Avocado wraps, cookies, candy.
Bacon, hamburgers,
gummy bears, whatever you want, they're pretty much going to have.
So if you want to get in shape and eat junk food, trail running's for you.
That's it. Like perfect plug for trail running. So you show up to these aid stations and everybody's usually pretty lively and they're like, "What can I get you, man?" They'll have Cokes there. They'll have like Coca-Cola, you know, not the illicit substance. Yeah, and then they'll have like ginger ale. They'll have sometimes orange juice. I've seen orange juice at the aid stations.
Pickle juice.
It's like pickle juice. So it's a party, and you're just basically tailgating in the middle of the woods.
That's a really good way of putting it.
And you know, you got the easy up pop up tent, and just a bunch of wild, loose people that are just out there having a good time.
Yeah. If you've ever hung out with hikers, it's kind of like that, but not so hippie-ish.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's true. Everybody kind of stinks, and that's like okay, and you know, some long-haired people that are just free floaters, and they're just out there having a good time supporting the sport. So I love that about ultra running, because, you know, you show up, like, I don't even know that marathons, they have like 8 tents, but it's like waters and bananas.
Yeah,
like,
or maybe some kind of drink like Tailwind or something like that, and some gels on the table.
People aren't stopping and talking, and like, you know.
No, it's grab and go.
It's,
Marathons are like the fast food industry,
Yeah.
whereas this is like a family meal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's a trail meal.
Yeah.
Like, you know. And,
it's like Thanksgiving dinner. You're gonna have a ball with your family.
Yeah.
Sitting around the table, cutting it up and enjoying some real sustenance.
Yeah, and it's okay to grab you a couple Snicker bars and throw them in your pack.
Yep.
And because you never know,
little trail candy goes a long way.
Little trail candy. So, that's the cool thing about ultras is it's quite literally for anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
If you can cover some ground on your feet, stay on your feet for a long while, ultra running is for you.
Yep.
And, you know, you still got to put the work in. We're not saying that you can just like go from couch to 50K. I think you probably could to some degree. But if you can just stay consistent on your feet and just have a good attitude and just go out there and do the thing, I'm telling you, you guys can do this. Like, it's not that crazy.
I think trail running also really appeals to men specifically, but women too, who crave some adventure. Again, it's not boring like you're running on the road, seeing houses and cars and buildings. You run through the woods and you might see a deer, you might see a waterfall, you might see a mountain. I mean, like you're going to see nature, and it's just a lot more fun. And a lot of trail runs are either really big loops or point-to-point races. So you're going to actually travel from one place to another or travel a lot of distance in between a loop. And it's just, I don't know, it feels like a grand adventure when you're out there on the trail versus just doing a run on the road. It's a totally different mindset too out there.
And if you do a longer race, you get to see different times of the day. There are some of you that are listening that have probably never stayed up all night before. And we're talking more. Now, they have nighttime races in the summer. Like you got the Night Howler, that's a 50-miler overnight.
Yeah.
And stuff like that where you're starting in the evening. And Skunk Ape events, they have a few overtime, like the Wild Boar Night Run.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But, you know, if you're doing anything over I would say 50 miles, you're going to see some darkness.
Yep, absolutely.
And so the darkness brings a whole nother element of challenge, both mentally and physically, because you can't see as well. But yeah, it's just a real intimate time with just you, the trail. If you're doing it with a buddy, it's just you and your buddy, or girlfriend, whatever, out there on the trail, just doing the thing. And it brings a lot of value too. So, yeah, so like, let's talk about the value of it. Like, what are some lessons that you've learned in your like trail running journey on these ultras that we've done?
Yeah, kind of going back to like what we were already talking about. Forward motion is progress. It's not always about the pace. It's not about, that you're gonna come across different sections of the trail that you can run differently.
Mm-hmm.
A downhill is going to be different than an uphill. A flat section is going to be different than, or one flat section may be different than another flat section that's really technical with roots and rocks everywhere. So you just get to learn to kind of be patient with yourself, with your pace and time, and not rush the run. I mean, yes, there are races and the time is always kind of in the back of your mind, but I really try and stay present on these trail runs because it's almost like you don't want it to end.
Yeah.
Like when it's over, it's over. So enjoy it while you're out there, whether it takes 6 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours. Every minute, you're going to look back later and be like, man, that was so much fun. Like in the moment, sometimes you're like, oh, I wish this would be over.
Yeah.
But at the end, you're going to be like, man, I wish I could get 5 more minutes back on the trail.
Yep.
It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a totally different mindset, really. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's true. And I think too, remind me to talk about like the rough trail runner and the refined trail runner.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We need to talk about that. But to answer my own question, is what I've gained a lot of value is how short the painful sessions are. Like you start off, you're on like a high, and we've mentioned them before, but you just launched one of their like in 100-miler, the phases that you go through based off of the mileage. And I listened to that last night, and I'm like, that was really good. You start off with like a really big high, and then you hit kind of like, okay, the realization of the distance sets in, and then you hit like, so basically like your process of grieving.
Yeah.
Acceptance.
You're riding a roller coaster here.
Yeah. And it's an emotional roller coaster. And then you realize how short those seasons are.
Yep.
And then you come out of one, and you could leave an aid station feeling so down. And then by the time you get to the next aid station, you're like, woo, let's go.
Yeah. I heard somebody say once that like, if you're feeling like crap, give it 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Cause like every 30 minutes you're a different person or you're in a different place.
Yep.
And the terrain's different, and either it's taking your mind off of it or you feel way better. One 30-minute section, you're climbing up a mountain. The next 30-minute section, you're going down the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, man, that for every uphill, there's a downhill. You got something to look forward to.
It's true. So that's the cool thing I love about it is just how short things get in an ultra, and then you look back and you're like, wow, that was 20 hours of movement, and it didn't feel like 20 hours. It felt like 20 minutes.
Yep.
And so that's the cool thing about it is just you get lost in, and people ask me all the time, like, do you listen to music? I rarely listen to music anymore. I just I always have my aftershocks with me, really to like talk to my phone so I don't have to touch my phone.
Sweaty hands.
Sweaty hands or whatever, and I don't have to pull it out of my pack, and I can text my wife or whoever's at the aid stations and just say like, hey, have this ready for me. But I rarely listen to music anymore. I just kind of just get lost in thought, and there's very few things in life that you can put yourself in voluntarily that kind of puts you in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the big reasons that I really love it. I mean, you could do the same thing in a marathon, but it's just not the same thing. Having ran that distance on the roads before, like it just doesn't feel the same, but
the vibe's very different.
Mm-hmm.
So with all that, we talked about like running into the night and, aid stations and everything. We kind of already talked about like what is a normal aid station on a trail run? What's that consist of?
Yeah, so
all the food that you talked about.
Yeah, all the food that you talked about. But like when you come into an aid station, most of them, they're going to have somebody there that checks you in. Mm-hmm. So, that way they have the markers because they're not always like live tracked, like the Arizona Monster 300 or something like that, which we've never done, but we follow them. and Cocodona and all those big races, they'll have trackers and stuff on you, but you get checked in, and then most of them you have crew access where your crew can be there.
So your crew is anybody that comes with you, that, friends, family, whatever, anybody that's there to support you. And yeah, I mean, if you get into like elites, sometimes you can share a crew. Like if Nate and I were both running the same race, we could have one crew that's going to be there for both of us, and ideally we're there at the same time or close, and they can support us both. But yeah, your crew is just that. It's just your people, basically. And you don't have to have it.
You don't, but I was going to argue that I think that trail running or ultra running as a whole does more than it's not just about the runner. Like the crew and the pacers and the camaraderie that comes from it is so big, man. Like there's so much to be gained there, to have the people that you care about who care about you and want you to succeed. Like obviously we're all here because of the runner as the crew part, but there's so much that goes into that. And
it's an individual sport, but it's a team effort.
Yeah.
And so like you can go run a marathon, you hop in your car, drive an hour away, run a marathon, hop back in your car, drive back home, and it really just affected you. You just did something. But to do an ultra, you can do it that way, and people do. They do these unsupported ultras, or they just use the aid station tents at races and stuff, and that's perfectly fine. If you can do that, that's awesome. But I think you're missing a little bit of the fun of it if you don't have a crew, because man, when you get there and your crew's there and they're able to see your highs and your lows and experience that with you, it is so cool, and it's rewarding being on both sides of it.
Yeah.
Having been on both sides now, I see that it is so rewarding to be the crew just like it is the runner.
Yeah.
It's a little more boring, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
If you're a crew, you're going to be sitting and waiting a lot.
Yeah.
But it is still super rewarding.
It is. And so like the crew aspect is so important, and it's I after we got done pacing our friend Mark for his Southern States 200, I said when I got done with my 33 mile section, I was like, man, I almost enjoy pacing these as much as I enjoy running them, because you get all the benefits of the race, but you get to be there for somebody else, and there's also less pressure on you.
Yeah.
You're not running the whole distance.
Yeah. So while you're on that, what is a pacer?
So a pacer is somebody who basically is the eyes, ears, and brain for the runner. They're there to keep you sane and fed and remind you that you need to eat, remind you need to drink. And if you get more serious into the sport, they're also paying attention to the clock and pacing,
so
keeping your pace.
I think pacers originated in marathons as somebody that would join you at a certain point, like halfway through the run, and keep you on your pace. Like if you ever watch a super professional run, like the London Marathon or something, and Kipchoge, the guy who holds the fastest marathon time in the world, is there running, he's got like a group of pacers around him that will peel on and off at certain points, but he's got like 4 or 5 guys around him trying to help him stay on the pace that he's set to run this entire thing. So that transitioned into the ultra space, and these people will join in and keep you on pace time-wise, but it's evolved into so much more than that. Like you just said, it's somebody that's going to like make sure that you eat and drink. And for instance, the 100-miler that I did, where you paced me, there was a little bit of speed or like time-sensitive stuff. Like you were trying to keep me on the clock so that I didn't spend too much time in an aid station and we get behind. But for the most part, you're just like a companion the whole time that's taking care of me when I'm past the point of taking care of myself. And that is so awesome and so helpful. And just like the crew, like there's so much joy and reward that comes from that, from being that person for somebody else. Like you're just they're like personal aid station the whole time. Not that you're carrying stuff for them. That's called muling.
Yeah.
And that is not allowed in a lot of races where you like carry water and food for your runner. So if you ever hear muling, that's what that is. But that you're there going like, hey, remember to drink some water. Hey, remember to eat your food. Hey, remember when we're like 2 miles out from this aid station, when we get there, we're going to take 15 minutes, and then I'm going to get you back on the course, and we're going to go again. Also, getting on the course, like staying on course,
navigating.
It's really easy to get lost when you're 24 hours deep in a run and not thinking clearly because you're sleep deprived. So your pacer is there to help keep you on track.
Right. Very true. And making sure that when you come into an aid station that you're expressing needs to the other crew members that are there, because you just spent 12, 15 miles with this person.
Yeah.
And you'll know, like, okay, we need to make sure his right ankle is bothering him, all that kind of stuff. And also just keeping them mentally checked into the fight. Like, protecting them from outside influences that could ultimately steer the outcome of the whole race. Like, you build a relationship with the person to where it's like, he cannot sit down on this one, otherwise he's going to quit. Like, I know he wants to, but he can't.
Protecting them from outside stress. Like, the runner probably doesn't need to know that the truck is almost out of fuel and you need to go.
Irritating.
We're alluding back to during my 100-miler. The truck was almost out of fuel, and it was a decision of, do we go get gas or not? And like, that's not a decision that the runner needs to be.
It.
Yeah, that's not a decision the runner needs to be making or even thinking about, because sometimes things like that, outside stressors, will get in your head and then be like, oh, well, like, and you just spiral and start thinking about other stuff, and your focus should be on the race itself. So your pacer can help protect you from a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I had already kind of calculated that because I realized how much your dad was running the truck on that day, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. So I was mentally prepared as a pacer to be like, hey, it's going to be about an hour and a half to 2 hours until we need you. Just go get fuel.
Yeah.
And anyway, it ended up coming out, and you heard about it, and whatever. It was water under the bridge.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me, and at that point in the race, it didn't really matter. But had that conversation happened at mile 80 or something, it could have been much more detrimental and to my spirits and potentially the race outcome. But yeah, your pacer can also run ahead of you a little ways, and maybe start prepping stuff at the aid station. Like, they run ahead of you a half mile and start getting your stuff out. Some aid stations or some races don't have crew access, or maybe you don't have a crew. Maybe your pacer's all you've got. So they have drop bags.
Yeah.
And drop bags are bags that you would give to the race director or the race personnel, volunteers, ahead of time, that have whatever you want in them. Typically, there's a size limit on the bags, and you would put your food and any specific stuff that you want that they're not going to have at the aid stations. Like we already talked about, the aid stations have a lot, but if you normally use a specific gel or a specific type of powder that you want in your drinks, you're going to have that kind of stuff, or extra clothes, or just an empty bag to shed clothes and put them in there.
Yeah.
You got this drop bag, and so your pacer could run ahead and start getting your stuff out for you. Or if you didn't have a pacer, you can go into these aid stations and grab your drop bag and get your personal items.
Yep. Yeah, and those drop bags, we have not utilized those yet. But for the Georgia Jewel, I am going to utilize a drop bag for one of the drops because there's no crew access, and because of it being, I'm going to strategize that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can have my Uncrustable.
There you go.
Yeah. So
so creature comforts.
Yeah. I love my Uncrustables. I discovered them on the last race.
Yeah.
And I love those things. They're perfect.
Well, and this is a good segue. The drop bags are a good thing to also have, like I said, clothes and gear in. So if you're on a run where maybe there's not a crew access point, or you don't have a crew, but you're going to be going from day to night or night to day, maybe you've got stuff like a headlamp or a waist lamp in this bag that you can put on and have it when you need it, versus having to wait till the next time you see your crew and potentially have to run in the dark for a little bit using your phone as a light. It works, but trust me, it's not the best.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what other kind of gear or accessories do you need when you're thinking about running these ultra distances?
So one of the things is, if you're doing one at night, have a good headlamp or I've grown to really enjoy the waist light.
Yeah, same.
It really helps illuminate the ground a lot better, and you're not stuck with your head down a whole lot. So
yeah, pros and cons. If you hear something off on the side of the trail and you look over there, you're turning your head, you still can't see anything because it's dark.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But As far as lighting up the trail, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
The waist light is so good.
Yep, waist light, extra batteries, and always carry. So let's break this down because there's a ton of stuff like logistics that go into this. Emergency things that you always need to keep in your pack.
Yeah. Some races will have mandatory items, which you'll have to keep.
If it's going to be super cold outside, have an emergency bivy with you.
Yeah.
In the Southern States 200, there was somebody that actually deployed it because it got cold at night, and that section took longer than he thought, and he did not have a jacket or any long sleeves.
Oh, man.
So he was literally walking with a tinfoil bivy around him just to stay somewhat warm. So they're light. They take up little to no space. So an emergency bivy is a must.
Mm-hmm.
A whistle. Have a whistle. I have my non-negotiables about always carrying a lighter and a small pocket knife to cut things.
Yeah.
Those will be in my pack. They take up little to no space.
One of my non-negotiables is toilet paper or baby wipes.
Baby wipes, yep. So a Ziploc baggie with a couple baby wipes. You don't need to bring the whole pack. Just a couple wipes. You could bring muck enders.
Yep.
And
they're big. They work great.
They work great, yeah. And then some lube and like a Ziploc baggie or something for chafing if you start developing chafing in between your segments or if you got to put it on. That's also a really good thing to keep in there.
Yeah.
Also a bandana. A bandana can do a lot. Not only does it help block some sun, but from an emergency standpoint, you can cut a strip off of it with the knife that you're also carrying and use it as a tourniquet. You can use it
as a sling.
Wipe your face.
You can wet it in a creek on a hot day, put it around your neck. Now you got a wet bandana cooling you off. I mean, yeah, stuff like that. That's going to take up almost no room and be super lightweight. It's dumb not to carry that.
Yeah. And they're cheap. You could buy a bunch of them for $10.
Yeah.
And rotate them through the aid stations.
How are you carrying all this stuff?
So I carry in a Solomon 12, Advanced Skin 12. And when I did my 60K, I did a fanny pack and 2 handhelds.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And that actually kind of segues into like the rough runner versus the refined runner.
Yeah.
I've seen runners run with 2 Sam's Club water bottles in a fanny pack before, and it works for them, and you can get a lot done with that. But also strategizing your segments, if you have a 12-mile section, you should probably carry a little more water.
Yeah.
And as you get more tired, that 12-mile section that might have taken you 2.5 hours before might take you 4 hours, depending on what part of the race you're in.
And if you're doing that 12-mile section at night, it might be cooler, or if it's in the afternoon, it might be super hot. So all things to consider in terms of how much water am I going to pack, and how much food, like how much time am I going to be on the trail. Yeah.
So yeah, like you can rough it real big and do like super lightweight fanny pack. But if you're like new to this, I would encourage you to get a good running vest and carry just a little bit more than what you think you're going to need until you've done a few and you kind of know what you're going to need.
Yeah.
Because you get to the aid station, you're like, man, I got 10 miles to the next aid station. I don't know what I want. Then pack a few options.
Yeah. There's a caveat with that. So I have the Solomon Advanced Skin 6, which so Nate's got the 12, I've got the 6. It's just the liters. So that's the amount of volume that the pack has the capability to carry stuff-wise all around, not water specifically. But the bigger the pack, the more likely you are to shove more stuff in it. So being a new runner, if you're going to go do a 50K, like the smallest ultra that you can probably sign up for, err on the smaller side. You don't need a giant pack. And like Nate's saying, pack an additional 1 or 2 things just in case. But also what you'll probably find at the end is that you packed way more than you needed.
Yeah.
And that's normal. But just know that ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. Like over time, that's a common saying in the military, but over time, the amount of stuff that you're carrying with you is going to take a toll.
Yeah.
So that's something that you'll refine and get better at as you do more of these. But just know that if you have a bigger pack, you're more likely to stuff more crap in it.
That's true. Yep.
But the 12 liter was ideal for like 100 or a bigger distance. I mean, that's the right amount of stuff because you're going to have clothes that you need to either pack with you to put on or that you're going to wear and then want to take off when it gets warm.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I would also encourage emergency calories. Have a Ziploc baggie in the back of your pack for like I like to keep an emergency calorie being a gel.
Yep.
Something like Nerds, Skittles, M&Ms, something that's like a good morale booster.
Yeah, maybe not M&Ms if it's going to be hot.
Yeah, because those will melt. But
yeah.
something that's like, oh man, I've got Skittles in my pack. You know, something that like
some gummy worms, something like that that'll last back there and boost your morale and actually physically help you.
Yeah,
with some sugar and calories.
Yep, that, and then I always like to keep an electrolyte in that emergency calorie pack.
Yeah.
And so like an Element or a Tailwinds pack or G1M, whatever you use for that has electrolytes in it, or salt tablets, salt pills, something to help replenish that. So in your emergency pack, so you hopefully should strategize your nutrition ahead of time, and that's a whole episode just on nutrition. But practice with it and have an emergency amount of electrolytes, some sort of carb supplement, whether it be a gel that's small, lightweight, Tailwinds, Uncrustable.
If you're going to have Tailwinds or any other kind of powder, just know that you've got to have water to mix that with.
Right.
Otherwise, you're kind of still up the creek without a paddle.
That's it. And then some sort of electrolyte. So those three things, if you have that in a little Ziploc baggie, that's a perfect enough amount of stuff just to get you to the next aid station. So yeah, that would be like gear, like what we would carry in our pack. Obviously, your water volume changes based off of the segments.
Something you didn't say that becomes important on longer duration events would be a phone charger, like the cord itself, and a battery backup, like a battery bank to plug it into. Potentially a charger for your watch or a headlamp or something like that. Those kinds of cords don't take up much space. They're lightweight. And if you're already carrying the battery bank, like for your phone, just throw the extra cords in there for the other devices you've got, because it could really save your butt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we actually, on the 200, his watch died. And
on my 100.
And yours watch died too. So
you carried my watch while it was plugged in for a few minutes to let it charge.
Yeah. So those are all really important things to definitely have with you. So yeah, there's just some high-level gear things. As far as other gear, everything that you wear and carry, make sure you train with it. And so shoes, that's a whole episode just on shoes. But Ryan's actually wearing the new released Speedland RX, LVL, right?
LVL, yeah, the Leadvilles.
The Leadville edition ones. So LDVL. Okay. So we've been running. I actually bought the Speedlands, loved them, and then Ryan bought the TMTs.
Jumped on the bandwagon,
and we've really enjoyed them. So, but these are new shoes for Ryan, so he would not go out tomorrow and go run a 100-miler in that shoe because he hasn't ran in them a ton yet.
That would be unwise.
But
something that you want to look for if you're going to do trail runs versus road runs, get some that have some kind of lugs or good tread on the bottom. That's going to do well in muddy or wet, slick conditions. Because it's not the road, so there's going to be roots and rocks and obstacles as well as mud. Think about the thickness of the sole of the shoe. That's going to be important on the longer duration because that sole of your shoe is the cushion beneath your body. So if you got some really thin trail shoes, that might be good for a 5-mile hike. After about 20 miles in the woods on the trail, your body's probably going to be feeling a lot worse than it could have been had you had some thicker soles on.
Yep, that's it. So
if you're getting new shoes for ultra distance, it's generally wise to get a half size up from what you typically wear for like your normal daily shoes, because longer distance running will make your feet swell, and a little bit of extra room in your shoe is a good thing.
Yeah. Your shoes are super important. And you don't really know about the hot spots in the shoe. And it changes, too. As the shoe wears, you get different hot spots.
Well, and I think the trail determines that a lot. You know, if you're doing a lot of climbing, you're probably going to see a lot more hot spots on the front of your foot.
Yep.
Descents, you're going to feel the hot spots on your heel or maybe the front also from where your toes are sliding into the bottom or into the front of the shoe. If you're doing a lot of, I don't know what I call it, but those mountain trails where it's on the side of a mountain and it's kind of sloped to the side, you may develop blisters or something on one side of your foot just because your foot's constantly pressing on that side. So unless you can train where you're going to race, you really don't know what to expect there. But that goes back to bring some kind of lube and being able to address that in your drop bags or with your crew, having a change of socks, more lubricant to put on.
KT tape.
Yeah, KT tape. An extra pair of shoes to change into if yours got absolutely trashed in mud or water and you just want to give them some time to dry out till you see your crew again. Things like that are good to consider.
Yeah. And having 2 pairs of shoes, I think, I would consider that a must to have, because you can do it all in one pair of shoes, but you don't know what the trail is going to do to you. Yeah. And so have a pair, just to even swap out for hot spots to give your feet a little bit different break.
Yeah. Like on our 74 miler, I didn't ever change my shoes, but I always had a second pair of shoes in the crew car.
Yep.
Just in case. It wasn't necessary, but it was smart to have.
I did, because I knew during the hottest section of the day, I was going to sweat like a pig.
Yeah.
And I know from my training that my socks and shoes get soaked during those super hot miles.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to get my backup pair soaked so that when it starts to cool down, I can swap back into my other ones.
I also developed a really gnarly blister on my big toe. So I'm not saying my decision was the best, but I brought the shoes to change into. I just never did.
But do your socks get soaking wet from sweat?
I don't sweat nearly as much as you do, man.
Okay.
No. So I should have changed my socks at some point. I don't think that I ever needed to change my shoes running in those TMTs that we were, but I should have definitely changed my socks at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Or after the next section where it was really hot. And if you're using ice or an ice bandana or something like that to cool yourself, extra lube and change your socks afterwards, because all that ice, if you've got it up on your neck, or there's these cool hats now that we're actually testing out, an ice hat that has little cubbies in each side above your ear that you put ice in. Anything like that is awesome. It's going to keep you cool. But as the ice melts, the water runs down your body, and that creates more friction.
Yep.
It's just like sweat. I mean, you're going to start chafing, and your socks are going to get super wet. Everything's going to get more wet than it was.
Right.
So,
all really good points.
Other considerations.
Gear, yeah. So, shoes, your clothes, wear underwear that's not going to chafe, or just don't wear any underwear at all. Some guys like that and do that. I don't know how they do it, but
whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah. So, but just train in whatever you plan to race in, and try to simulate race day as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that also includes if you're going to carry a pack, do some weighted runs.
Yeah.
So
put all the stuff that you're going to have in your pack on race day and go run with it.
Yeah.
Because if you train your entire time without having anything on, and then you throw on a race pack that's 5 to 10 pounds, again, over 20, 30 miles, you're going to start to notice, like, man, I feel a lot worse than I did on my runs that were comparable, or my walks. Like we said, ultra running is not all running.
Yeah.
But yeah, having some kind of weight on you is going to be far different. So clothes are pretty simple. I mean, really just wear what you normally wear.
Yeah.
Don't throw new clothes on. But look at the weather for a race before you go do it.
Yep.
Like right beforehand, and you may need to pack some additional clothes if it's going to get cool at night, or maybe wear some additional layers and know that you're going to take those off and put them in your pack later. And then I think the last piece of gear that I would talk about is poles.
I was just going to say that.
Trekking poles.
So trekking poles for me are like a change of rhythm, and it's kind of like a morale boost because it takes some weight off of your legs.
Yeah.
And when your legs start to kind of almost fail, it's like they caught me from falling a couple times because I was able to catch it. But just know that it becomes a full body experience more than what it was before. Your lats, that's why I do quite a few pull-ups. Your lats and your shoulders, your back is going to start to become more sore. So your gait will change as the distance hits you. So, you might have been able to hold during a 80-plus mile race, you might have been able to hold a 10, 11-minute mile pace for that entire time, and you hit mile 50 and you're like, ooh, something don't feel right.
Yeah.
It's normal. It's okay. But then now your gait's going to change, and so trekking poles, especially on climbing segments.
Yeah.
It really helps with taking some weight off your feet, kind of dig in. But practice with your trekking poles because there is an art to using those things. 100%.
Yeah. I got my trekking poles for the first time towards the end of last year. I guess October maybe or September or so, got them. And I did one training run with them on like a 5 or 6 mile trail run here on Flattish, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And then my first race that I used them on was a 25K in the mountains of North Carolina. And it was like 5,500 foot of elevation gain. It was a lot of uphill and a lot of little fast downhills. And the poles were great. Like I'm glad that I had them. But man, my whole body was so sore because I wasn't conditioned to using them. And man, it was, I hurt on that run from the elevation and everything, but I hurt in places that I didn't expect to hurt, like my back and my arms.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely train with those.
For sure. But yeah.
And you don't have to get some crazy expensive. There's a lot of poles out there.
There are.
There's a lot of like super lightweight, blah, blah, blah. They're awesome. Awesome poles, super lightweight, like Lecky and Blue Diamond or Black Diamond.
Black Diamond.
But you know, if you're just getting into this, don't worry about that. You don't need to spend $250 on a set of poles. You're not trying to set course records or win the race. Get on Amazon, get some aluminum trekking poles that are lightweight and durable enough. If you break them, you lost $30.
Right.
And you buy another set for the next race that you're going to do if you like them. And, you know, it gives you something to start with and test before you go dropping a bunch of money on some really nice poles.
Yeah.
That are really nice, but just unnecessary for a beginner.
It's true. Yep. Very true. So, yeah, we kind of hit gear. Oh, watches.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about
watches.
watch. So, when you're starting out, I don't know that like if you're running a fairly well-established trail, shorter like 50K, something like that, just a Garmin Instinct will work just fine.
Yeah.
You can track your mileage. You can do some navigation. But when you start getting into like these longer adventure stuff races, like I would say 50 plus, 50 and over, I would encourage you to get a watch that has some sort of navigation or have a way to have navigation either on your phone or on your watch. And because the trail, what we found is some of the GPX files are great and they're like spot on. Sometimes they're not, but it'll get you close enough to where you're like, I'm way off course. And you don't want those bonus miles. As cool as they are to talk about, you don't really want them.
Yeah. So like most of your trail runs have files that you can download that have the course on them. And that's called a .gpx file, kind of like you'd have a .ppt file for a PowerPoint. These files are uploadable to different map software, maps that you can have on your phone or on your watch.
Yeah. All
your Garmin, Coros, I don't know, all the other brands of running watches. If they have navigation on them, and if that's an accessible thing, then they're going to have the ability to upload these GPX files, and that will give you turn-by-turn directions while you're on the run.
Yeah.
And I agree, man. I think if you're doing anything over a 50K, it should be a requirement. Yeah. 50K and below, I think you can get by with like an Apple Watch if it's got a long enough battery to last your whole event. So again, practice with it, train with it. If you're going to you're training for a 50K and you're going to do a 15-mile run to train, take note of how much battery you've got at the end of that 15 mile and go, okay, well, if I'm at 40%, it's not going to make it a full 30 miles.
Right.
So I got to do something different. I think there's the Apple Watch Ultra that has like better battery life, but I don't know. You can't go wrong with Garmin, Coros. There's other good watch brands that I don't know, but we love our Garmins. I think that they're very accurate and I like the way that they work. So that's my recommendation.
Absolutely. And then also have a good hat or bandana or something that works well for you. So
what are your thoughts on sunglasses?
I like them.
Okay.
I like to wear them.
I don't like wearing sunglasses, so I'm not a sunglass runner.
Yeah. What I found is it kind of helps with the like the contrast on the trail. Like I don't wear like a super tinted sunglass, but just enough to kind of ease your eyes a little bit from the sun.
Yeah.
That's just what I like. I like to run with sunglasses on. But if it's a real shaded section, I'll just flip them over my bill of my hat, just run with them on the top of my head. But
I don't like them because after a certain duration, they start to hurt, the sides of your head or above your ears and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you like running with sunglasses, by all means do it.
Yeah.
That's not a make it or break it type thing in trail running.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your thing.
That's it. And then, if it's super sunny out, just use common sense. Like, if it's super sunny out, I like to wear long sleeves to kind of keep the sun off of me. Some guys will go out there, without a shirt on at all.
Yeah.
That sun's baking your skin, and then it's dehydrating you even more. I would rather continue to sweat, and it almost helps cool my core temp, because you sweat and then your clothes get wet, and then you get a little bit of breeze while you're moving, and it kind of helps cool your body. So
yeah, that's one of those things that I would do in training, but not on race day.
Yeah,
I would run shirtless training, but on race day, definitely I'm a shirt kind of guy. And with that, nipple protection.
Yes,
men and women probably. I don't know. But yeah, Band-Aids are the cheapest thing to do. They have like little. They sell on Amazon and other places these little nipple covers that are like round and they stick to you. They don't stick that well and they're expensive. Mm-hmm. Just a simple old Band-Aid across your nips.
Yep.
Works great.
Absolutely.
But if you don't wear that, your shirt's liable to chafe on your nipples. And there have been plenty of runners who have come through the finish line with bloody shirts.
Yep.
Blood running down from both their chests.
Yeah. That's no good. No bueno.
That is super painful chafing there.
Yes. So, but yeah, so we hit kind of why we like trail running, what kind of got us into it, what we've enjoyed about it or learned from it, and then some of the gear and highlights. If you're getting into the sport and kind of to get you guys started, I think it's safe to say we are looking at doing some local, if you're local to the area. We're still hashing out logistics as far as our schedule, but doing a group trail run.
Yeah. Eventually hosting a trail running seminar of some kind that will kind of give you a chance to see some of these things in person, maybe try out some different gear and just get that physical exposure to them.
Yeah.
And learn some more, ask us questions, whatever, stuff like that.
So try to grow the sport a little bit more in our area, get some people out on the trail, and the group run will be low key. Like, we might do some longer ones later, but as we first start the trail run, we're talking like 5K, 10K.
Yeah.
It'll be Ryan and myself. So one of us can take the 5Kers out, one of us can take the 10Kers out, and we'll just stay together as a group and just get the trail run done. And we'll have the courses on GPX file and all that, so that you can download those and kind of practice like we play, and try to get people involved with what trail running is, and hopefully kind of grow the sport of ultra running. So,
yeah. The only other things that I think we haven't touched on would be like heart rate monitors or whoop bands, things that go around your arm, stuff like that. You don't really see people wearing those at ultra events just because they're long duration, and that's just one more thing to carry on you and like another spot to chafe or a potential problem. But I think that those are both really valuable things for training leading up to something like this, because you can track your heart rate better and track different metrics. But in terms of on the race day, wouldn't worry about stuff like that. If you don't have one, don't feel like it's going to hurt you not having it. If you're not training with a heart rate monitor, probably leaving a little on the table. But if you're just trying to finish the thing, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your watch will give you a good enough assessment of your heart rate that you can judge your effort based off of that.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I was going to say was like some kind of plan going into the race.
Yeah.
It's not something that you carry on you, but it's something that is hopefully at least in your head. And if you're really analytical, maybe you print it out or you write it out for your crew or for your pacer, for whoever's with you, or even for yourself to remind you at these aid stations, like, hey, this is my plan. This is what I plan on eating. Don't forget to do this and that. Have some kind of plan, and it probably is good practice to have it printed out or written out and be able to look back on that, because you're going to get kind of brain fog in these longer events, and you're definitely liable to miss some stuff.
Yeah.
So I would recommend having a plan and some way to review it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the logistics and the planning and stuff behind these. It's a ton of fun for me. So
yeah, it's almost more fun than the race sometimes, because you plan and work on stuff for the race for days leading up to it, and then you go do the thing, and you're like, that was so quick.
Yeah, it was.
But all this planning went into it.
Yeah, and then I'll leave it with this too. the plan can change, but the goal never changes. The goal is to cross that finish line. So if your race takes a turn for the worse, it's okay, but the plan is to finish, or the goal is to finish.
You reminded me, sorry. The lingo associated with finishes or not finishes.
Yep.
So if you finish, you get a finish.
Yep.
If you don't show up to a race, that is a DNS.
Yeah.
If you ever hear us say a DNS, you'll get a did not start.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one of those from last year.
Yeah.
I didn't attend the race. I signed up, but I did not attend.
Yep.
And then if you ever sign up, do the race, but you don't finish, you have to bail for some reason, or you get injured, or maybe you don't meet the time constraints that the race had set and you finish after the race is technically over, you'll get a DNF, did not finish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the best letters for somebody that finishes after the time constraints, but
I jokingly put a reel up, but kind of serious. I think they should change it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be at least another one for that, because if you're doing a 100-miler and there's a 36-hour time cutoff and you finish at 37 hours, you definitely still finished.
Yeah.
Just not in their time.
Right. Yeah. No, so I didn't get as much traction as I thought, but I think there should be a DNA, did not arrive. You just didn't show up, and so that is what it is. Then you have DNF, which is a did not finish, which would mean that like you voluntarily bowed out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm done. You didn't complete the distance, whatever. And then kind of more of like Medal of Honor, the DNS, did not survive. And then those are the people who battled it out, but they just missed the cutoff, or they were medically discharged from the race because like the race director said, no, you can't continue.
Yeah.
That's a DNS. That carries a little bit more weight. Like you got some grit.
Yeah, you didn't just, but you didn't just quit.
Yeah.
Which if you got some DNFs, it's okay, guys.
Yeah. Right.
It's okay to push yourself and find limits
mm-hmm.
and have to quit, or not have to, but you chose to quit at that time. You will learn from that. Yeah. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You still did the thing, or you attempted the thing
mm-hmm.
that most people would sit on their couch and say, no way.
Yeah.
So
Kudos.
DNF is not the end of the world.
It's an opportunity to come back stronger.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. And then you can have the gold star DNS, and that's if you've laid your life down on the course.
Yeah. You can't get that, but your family can.
Your family can. Ultra sign up. Will be honored to put a gold star next to your name. But yeah. So anyway,
that's our petition to change the letters.
Yeah. So, but yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for all we have.
That was a lot
today. That was a lot, but we want to kind of give you guys kind of the backstory to trail running. We talk about all the time, but a little bit more of like why we enjoy it, some of the things behind it, because it is its own little world.
Mm-hmm.
But we love it, and yeah. So training for the next big thing. So see what comes of this summer. Some hot training coming up.
Looking forward to it.
Time to get acclimated.
Nothing gets you in shape like training in a sauna.
Pretty much. But Florida brings us. So let's continue to follow along the channel. Please visit our Linktree and website at in the description of this podcast. You can find us there. Give us a follow, like, and share our stuff, guys, and stay tuned for more events coming up. Also, the Punch-Out Ultra will be coming back for the 2027 year. So Punch-Out Ultra is coming, guys. We're excited to host that again up at the Men's Barn Meeting in Molino, Florida. 8-hour trail race, team, individual, or ruck division. We are adding, we heard you, ruckers, so we added a whole division just for you guys. So please stay tuned for more info on that, but you can also visit, and registration is live, so you can sign up on Ultra Sign Up. So thanks very much for tuning in to the Suffer Up podcast, guys. We love you all, and as always,
suffer up.